Good evening and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. And as always, we're back with another massive show to bring you on this Monday evening. But before we jump into that, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel if this is your first time watching. And let's get straight on into it. So on the show this evening, we are going to be reacting to a story that came out earlier on today saying that some of the players are starting to turn on Erik ten Hag. It's the same old, isn't it, with this bunch of players? They throw Mourinho under the bus, they threw Ollie under the bus, and now it looks like they're throwing Erik ten Hag under the bus. We will be talking about that. We'll also be talking a little bit about the Manchester United takeover saga apparently coming to an end next week, with Sky Sports reporting that Jim Ratcliffe will be announced as the new 25% owner. We've got a bit of an update on Varane, Jadon Sancho, lots and lots of different bits to get into on this evening's show. As always, get involved in the comment section, have your say on all things Manchester United. I'd love to see what you guys have to say. Let me know how you're feeling about the current state of affairs in the comment section below. Let's start off with the story about... what should we start with tonight? Let's start off with the story about the players turning on Erik ten Hag then, shall we? This story came out earlier on today, and the thing is, at first, I thought I was a little bit shocked, and then I thought, am I really shocked? This is the same old players that have done this time and time again. So this is coming from Rob Dawson, who is the Manchester United correspondent for ESPN. Very, very credible source. And he is reporting this afternoon that Erik ten Hag is battling to keep key first-team players on side following the 1-0 defeat to Newcastle United. It says a group within the first-team squad are becoming delusioned after a 10th defeat of the season on Saturday. Now, the thing which I don't understand here, right, is why should Erik ten Hag be having to battle to keep the players on side? Surely the players should be having to battle to keep Erik ten Hag on side. They are the ones who went out there and put in a half-assed attempt at a football match. They didn't track back, they didn't run, they didn't work hard. And I don't think many of those players who started that game came away with any integrity, to be completely honest. I think maybe, being completely honest, maybe Harry Maguire, and that's about it, which shows you how we've fallen. In the summer, if I'd have told you the only player in our team who was putting in a performance was Harry Maguire and potentially Bruno Fernandes, you'd have all laughed at me. But that's the reality of where we find ourselves now. So I think it's a little bit rich of these players to be turning on Erik ten Hag and for him having to battle to keep them, happy. After they ultimately put in a terrible performance. Now, is it because of Erik ten Hag's tactics? Maybe. Are the players not believing in his vision, in his philosophy? Potentially, that could be the case, But if this has happened with Ollie, the smiliest manager ever, the happy man that everybody loved, if this has happened with Van Gaal, it happened with Mourinho, when you actually look through the core of that team that played against Newcastle, half of those players were here for Mourinho, half of those players were here, obviously, for Ollie, and they throw all these other managers under the bus. We need to start re-pointing the blame, I think, on the players. Every other time, the first person to blame has been the manager. He's not good enough. He's out of his depth. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't have a philosophy. He doesn't have tactics. We haven't had tactics for 10 years. Not one of those managers has managed to get a tune out of these players. Let's be honest. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer just parked the bus and counter-attacked with no fans in the stadium, and it worked for a small period of time until the fans returned and we got found out. Louis van Gaal's football was absolutely terrible. Jose Mourinho, I don't really think he had a style, to be honest with you. It was just scraping wins. So for the last 10 years, all of these different great managers, Mourinho's won everything in the game. They've all struggled to get a tune out of these players. And what was really, really interesting for me was I came across an interview with Jose Mourinho from 6 years ago. And in the interview, he's been asked by the reporter, why isn't Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial playing? Why do you always pick Romelu Lukaku? And I think in the game that they were talking about, he had just picked Anthony Martial and Rashford. We'd lost the game and neither of them had put in any effort. And he said, the reason I don't pick them is, well, you just saw why I picked Romelu Lukaku, because, ultimately he works hard and the other two don't. And it's just funny that we're 6 years later down the line and we're still having these conversations about the players not working hard enough, the players not giving 150%. It's just embarrassing, isn't it? Ishmael says, every time Newcastle had the ball, they came for us. Yeah, they did. Ishmael also says, but when they had the ball, we gave them time to play. Yeah, I don't know, mate. I think it is a combination of poor tactics. I think it is a combination of maybe not having the right set of players to be able to implement the kind of style of play that Erik ten Hag wants to play. I don't think it's 100% on the players. I don't think it's 100% on the manager. I think there's a mixture of all different types of things. It's the player, the manager, the non-existent CEO, the non-existent director of football, the Glazers. Like, all of these things all come together and make this mess that we're in. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Do you think it's fair for the players to be turning on Erik ten Hag and him having to battle to keep them on side? I don't think it's fair. I think it should be the other way around. I think they should be trying to prove to him that they are good enough to be Manchester United players, because after that dismal performance against Newcastle, I honestly don't think any of them came away from that with any integrity or any points in the bank of proving to me that they're Manchester United worthy. But let me know what you guys think about that. Let's move on to a story about Jadon Sancho then. This is coming out from Ben Jacobs, and he is reporting this afternoon that apparently Jadon Sancho does not want to go to Saudi Arabia. I mean, that's just annoying for me personally, because that pretty much rules out the sale. Because Jadon Sancho, I think he's on £250,000 a week. No club in world football is going to pay Jadon 250 grand a week, apart from Saudi Arabian clubs. He doesn't want to go to Saudi. What does that mean? That we have to just loan him out? And we probably pay half of his salary? I mean, that's the reality of where we find ourselves now. And I said this on the show this morning. I honestly would not be surprised at all if we do see Jadon Sancho play for Manchester United again. I think we will. I just have this feeling that this next 10 games that we have between now and January, it's going to all unwind for Erik ten Hag. And I think that by the January window, I reckon that Erik ten Hag will probably be gone, to be honest with you. Now, I don't want him to go, but I just have this feeling. And I think as a result of that, I think you'll see Jadon Sancho back in that team, and I think you'll see Varane back in that team. And I think then we won't end up even buying anyone in January, because, Jim Ratcliffe, Paul Mitchell, Jean-Claude Blanc, whoever it is who is part of that new management team will say, well, we've got Varane back. He's, ultimately now a new signing, effectively. We've got Sancho back. We don't need to buy anybody. I think that's what's going to happen. I don't want it to happen, but when you look at this run of fixtures, Chelsea on Wednesday, Bournemouth on the weekend, then Bayern Munich away, Liverpool away. I mean, I'm literally having nightmares about that Liverpool game. That 7-0, I came away, I was at the pub watching it. I came away literally in shock. I was in complete shock after that 7-0. And the fact that in literally, how many days? 13 days, so 2 weeks yesterday, we play Liverpool again at Anfield. Let's be honest, it's going to be the same thing over again, isn't it? Maybe not 7, but I reckon it'll be 3 or 4-0 to Liverpool. And then straight off the back of that, we go and play West Ham away, which is going to be difficult. West Ham are in good form. And then we play Aston Villa. Like, between now and the new year, we play Chelsea, Bayern Munich, Liverpool, West Ham, Aston Villa. Like, all of those teams are around the top of the table at the moment. Most of those teams are doing better than us. So I think it's going to really unwind. And I genuinely do believe that we will see... I genuinely do think we will see Jadon Sancho back, just purely because of a financial thing. Mumra says we need to sack John Murta, bring in a new director of football and a CEO, and then sell all the overpaid underperformers. I agree with you. Somebody says Rashford is never a good player, and I've said this over the years, like practically since he broke into the team. Fair enough. That's obviously your opinion. Amy says, if to be honest, if Erik ten Hag wants respect, they know they can walk all over Erik ten Hag. Yeah, fair enough. Ishmael says the players deserve a pay cut when they behave this way. Only time they get paid their rightful wage is when they play good. I mean, a lot of players in the Premier League do have kind of contracts that incentivize them to play better, money for assists, money for goals. But I think Manchester United just pay really, really high as kind of a base salary. Marcus Rashford's apparently on around £350,000 a week. I mean, that literally makes me sick. That he can't even be bothered to run back and is being paid £350,000 in 1 week. It's absolutely sickening. Now, I know that he does a lot of, stuff for charity and stuff, and fair play to him for that. But at the end of the day, he's paid that amount of money to be a professional footballer. He's paid that amount of money to represent Manchester United. What he does with his money, fair play, that's good. But still, anyway. Chicken of Bristol says none of the players at the club are good enough that they get to decide the manager has to go. If I'm an owner, I don't want my team thinking they can underperform and wait and want Erik ten Hag out. Yeah, I agree with you, mate. Richie says De Gea to Newcastle is on, Fabrizio has said. I mean, that's just mad, isn't it? It's just crazy. Like, I said this all summer. I was really upset that David De Gea was going. People were saying, get rid of him. Is his time, blah, blah, blah. Off the back of that, right, you're not going to believe what's just broke this afternoon, right? This is coming out from a couple of different journalists today. And the headline is that Manchester United are apparently one of the clubs interested in signing Mike Maignan, who could be available for around £60 million, with the player's contract renewal with AC Milan proving difficult. Ten Hag really likes Maignan's profile and is not convinced by Andre Onana. So the stories are already coming out about Andre Onana. I don't know. I'm not going to lie to you. I do like Mike Maignan. I think he's a quality goalkeeper. Obviously, the AC Milan goalkeeper, very, very good. But to have just spent nearly £50 million on a goalkeeper, and there already be stories saying that we're looking to replace Andre Onana. Now, how much truth is there in this? I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. But yeah, obviously we'll keep you updated on that one. Do you think Mike Maignan is the answer? I think you've got to make Onana work now, because you're never going to get your money back for Onana if you try to sell him now. It's simply not going to happen. Let's see what else people are saying in the chat. Amy says ESPN are saying that Rashford is a negative for the team, but Erik ten Hag loves him. Okay. And Amy says De Gea is going to Newcastle. Pope has dislocated his shoulder. Yeah, I did just see that. Apparently Pope's going to be out till April next year. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm absolutely gutted about that. I really, really am. The fact that he's going to a team that are better than us, but yet we didn't think he was good enough. I mean, that just makes me feel so angry. I know it's unfortunate circumstances, that he's going because of an injury. But still, if Eddie Howe and Newcastle's really, really well-run club think that David De Gea is good enough for them, he's definitely good enough for Manchester United. Let's be honest, Newcastle United are a much better football side at the moment than we are. They are. There's no doubt about it. They were last season and they are this season. The football they play is levels above us. And they probably have a lesser team on paper, to be completely honest with you. And the fact that David De Gea is going to now go there, that literally is so devastating. It is. But it is what it is, isn't it? Yeah, it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think about that. Do you think that David De Gea at Newcastle would do well? Let me know what you guys think about that one. Tashreek says, do you think Greenwood will come back? Yeah, I'm not sure, mate. I don't know about Mason Greenwood. I said on the show this morning, I think 50-50. We'll have to wait and see. Fred says, Rashford is doing this and not being disciplined as Sancho and Varane. Why not? Mate, I do agree with you. I do. And I think it's because, being completely honest, I think Marcus Rashford as a brand gives so much to Manchester United. And I think that they've said that you can't fall out with Marcus Rashford. You have to play him. You have to pick him. He does so much for the community. He's this Manchester lad. And he knows that. He knows that he's untouchable. And I think that's where the problem is, to be completely honest with you. Like, he knows that he's untouchable because of all the things he does off the pitch, because of him being this poster boy for Manchester United. And he can just get away with doing nothing and effectively won't be dropped. I mean, when was the last time Marcus Rashford got dropped? Let me know. Let me know when Marcus Rashford got dropped. Never. He doesn't get dropped. He obviously didn't play against Galatasaray because he was suspended. But other than that, I do not remember him getting dropped at all. There was one occasion last season, I think it was against Wolves, and he reportedly turned up, 10, 15 minutes late for an interview or something. Not for an interview, sorry. 10 or 15 minutes late for a pre-match meeting. And he got dropped, didn't he, for that game, but came on at half-time. I mean, that just sums it up for me. I don't think David De Gea has been made official yet, but apparently that is what's going to happen, that he looks like he will be going to Newcastle. Yeah, I'm really upset about that, but it is what it is, isn't it? It is what it is. Right, let's move on with the rest of the show, though. I'll jump into the chat really, really quickly. Everybody's just joined. Please smash a like on the video if you haven't already, and please do subscribe to the channel. Okay, breaking news coming out here. Oh my God, it goes on and on. So Sky Sports are reporting, this is coming from Kaveh Solihull, who is a very, very reliable journalist for Sky Sports, over 300,000 followers on Twitter. He is reporting that Erik ten Hag has apparently lost 50% of the Manchester United dressing room already. I mean, just let that sink in already for you. Half of the dressing room are not convinced by Erik ten Hag. I mean, that's not good, is it? And this isn't coming out from some tabloid. This is coming out from Sky Sports, who get their information from well-rounded sources. I mean, if you look through that team, Anthony Martial definitely isn't going to be convinced by him. Rashford, I don't reckon, is convinced. Garnacho and Bruno, I wouldn't be surprised if they're not convinced. Mainu, I think, probably doesn't know. Scott McTominay probably loves him because he picks him. Maguire probably loves him because he picks him. You can already kind of pinpoint who these people are who don't like Erik ten Hag. But the headline is 50% of the dressing room are turning against Erik ten Hag. That's what's literally just come out in the last 30 seconds from Sky Sports. Erik ten Hag has lost 50% of the Manchester United dressing room. And I'll say it again, right? I want Erik ten Hag to stay, but I genuinely believe he'll be gone by January. I do. I think this is the beginning of the end. We spoke about this yesterday. I think the players have turned against him. I think the players have thrown him under the bus. We saw that against Newcastle. Let's be honest, right? We could quite well lose or draw to Chelsea. Chelsea are looking like a better side now. Bournemouth on Saturday, I wouldn't be surprised if we scrape or just about win that game, maybe draw. By next week, we'll be out of the Champions League, probably not in the Europa League. And then after that, you play Liverpool, West Ham and Aston Villa in the space of 3 games. I would imagine we'll probably lose at least 2 or 3 of those games. And I think that he will be gone by January, to be honest with you. Who does that mean will come in, though? Let's talk about that quickly. Let me know in the comment section, guys. Who do you want as the next Manchester United manager if Erik ten Hag was to be sacked? Obviously, as I've said, and I will keep saying this, I do not want Erik ten Hag to be sacked. I would rather half of these players leave, but obviously that's not a reality. That can't happen. Rashford can't go. Bruno I would keep, actually, to be fair. Rashford won't go. Garnacho I'd keep. McTominay had an opportunity to go in the summer, refused to. Maguire had an opportunity to go in the summer, refused to. Do you see what I'm going with this? Like, even if we want to get these players out of the club, they're refusing to leave because we've given them ridiculous contracts. The only way we'll get them out is if we let their contracts run down. And Manchester United don't like doing that because it doesn't retain their value. So I wouldn't even be surprised if they give Martial a new contract. Obviously, his deal's up in June, I think it is. But let me know in the comment section, guys, who would be the next Manchester United manager for you, because it's all good and well you saying get Erik ten Hag out, you know, but what's the solution? Who's going to be the new manager? The last thing I want is to see Darren Fletcher and Steve McLaren as the caretaker managers. That would literally make me feel so angry. I would rather Carrick comes back as the caretaker, or even Kieran McKenna. Like, he's doing very well at Ipswich. Irvin says Eric till the summer at least. Somebody in the chat saying bring Lampard. I mean, definitely not. Richie says, personally, I think Ineos will sack Ten Hag if they continue this poor form in the next few matches. I agree, mate. I do. I agree with you. I think he'll be gone by January. I honestly do. I think we'll probably lose against Liverpool, West Ham, Aston Villa. Bayern Munich will probably lose to. Somebody says, I want Xavi Alonso or Zidane. Mate, I don't want Xavi Alonso. I don't want a Liverpool legend at Manchester United, personally. And I don't think he'll come either, personally. I don't think he'd come to Manchester United. He's having such a good time over at Bayern Leverkusen. They're top of the league. I don't want Xavi Alonso. 100% no for me. Zidane, I mean, obviously that's interesting. Would he come or not? Somebody says Hansi Flick. Let's do a poll. Why not? Everybody smash a like on the video quickly. If Erik ten Hag is sacked, who should be next manager? Right, I'm just going to get a poll set up for you really quickly, guys. Everyone go and smash a like on the video if you haven't already. This bloody keyboard. What have we got? 1 second, everyone. I'm just setting up this poll. Xavi Alonso. I mean, who else is there? Who else is next Manchester United manager? I mean, the favourites at the moment are Zidane, Graham Potter, Nagelsmann, and Ruben Amorim. So I'll put Nagelsmann in there. Nagelsmann. All right. Get involved in the poll. Somebody says, can I tell you my honest opinion? Sacking managers is not the solution. Your players need to leave the ego and you need to terminate the contracts of those egotistical players. I agree with you, mate. I do. I think sacking the manager is not the right thing to do. I think the only exception I can really think of a manager who I think could come in and get a tune out of these players is Zidane. I just think that these players would have to look up to Zinedine Zidane. It's Zidane. He's one of the greatest footballers of all time. He won 3 Champions Leagues back-to-back with Real Madrid. He's probably the only manager I can think of at the moment who would walk into that dressing room and could put every single one of those players in their place. And they would listen to him. They would have to. And if they didn't, they should not be professional footballers. If you do not look up to a man like Zinedine Zidane, you don't know what you're doing, do you? Do you know what I mean? Like, he is one of the greatest, if not the greatest midfielders of all time, isn't he? Obviously on the level of, like Paul Scholes, all of those types of names. He's one of the best midfielders ever. There is absolutely no doubt about that. I mean, in his footballing career, obviously he's won Champions Leagues, World Cups, he's won everything. And then he won 3 Champions Leagues as a manager back to back. I think he's the only one, if you wanted somebody to manage egos, it would have to be him. He was managing Ronaldo, Benzema, all of these people, Modric, all of these people with massive egos. But Richie says Big Sam will save us. I'll tell you this though, guys. I don't think Zinedine Zidane will come to Manchester United. As far as I'm aware, I might be wrong here. He doesn't speak English. Let me just double check that. I might be wrong on that. Yeah, it says so. There's a story here from a couple of months ago saying Zinedine Zidane is not open to a Premier League job because he cannot speak English. The legendary Frenchman had been linked with a move to an English club in recent months, with the likes of Manchester United, Chelsea previously reportedly interested. So he can't speak English apparently. So that obviously is an issue. Yeah, he doesn't have a strong enough handle on English. This was in June. This was last year. Who knows? But we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, I hope that Erik ten Hag is still here in January. I hope he beats Bayern Munich. I hope we're still in the Champions League. I hope we go and beat Chelsea. We beat Liverpool, West Ham, Aston Villa. I want nothing more than Erik ten Hag to succeed, but you've got to be realistic here. We've had a story in the last 5 minutes from Sky Sports saying that 50% of the players apparently have turned against Erik ten Hag now. That is the beginning of the end. You've lost half of the dressing room. And it's very difficult to come back from that. Very, very difficult. If we lose against Chelsea and don't get a result against Bournemouth, lose against Bayern, that'll be it for me. I think we'll be gone. And I think that one of Ineos's first things would be bringing in a new person. Richie says bring in Conte as interim to the end of the season. I'm not convinced about Conte, to be honest with you, mate. And I think we actually need a plan. If Erik ten Hag was to go, I think there needs to be an actual proper plan. I don't want an interim. I don't want Darren Fletcher or like anything like that. I want it to be something better. It needs to be a better option. Right, I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined me on the show this evening. Please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe before you go. I will be back tomorrow about 8:30 a.m. UK time. Have a lovely evening, everybody. Obviously, if anything goes live, if anything breaks between now and tomorrow morning, I will go live. So make sure you hit the notification bell. This has been Daily Red Devil. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a nice evening, and I'll speak to you later.